Big love to everybody. I did a show on self-love with Mr Gurdjieff, and now I'm going to continue that with just the word love and what Gurdjieff discusses about love in his books and what others of his other people that he taught, what they have to say about it. Because I was mainly discussing the self-love and then saying to people, there's different types of love. Perhaps go and investigate them for yourselves and see if you can identify what kind of love you're working with. And so as I was myself looking into it more, I came across more and more quotes by Gurdjieff and his views on what love is. And when I was a kid, I used to collect these cartoons called Love Is. I don't know if people remember them, of the little man and the little woman. Love is, and then it'd be a nice picture of them to, perhaps him making her a nice cup of tea or something, or love is her giving him a flower and things like that. I used to love all them when I was a kiddie. Anyway, according to Gurdjieff, love. So this is from Meetings with Remarkable Men. Love, that sacred feeling which has gradually degenerated in people owing to their weakness and will-lessness, and has now in contemporary man turned completely into a vice, whereas the possibility of its natural manifestation was given to us by our Creator for the salvation of our souls and for the mutual support necessary for a more or less happy life together. So love has been manipulated over time, which is why the Greek philosopher who wrote about how there's all these different types of love: brotherly love, agape love, family love, sexual love, uh, manipulative love, compassionate love, which I think is the one that Gurdjieff's trying to get us, remind us of here. Well, these other loves sprung out of what was original love, the love of the divine, onto us, a love that maybe we can't quite understand anymore because we're not walking with God day by day like maybe they were in ancient times. I'm kind of a believer that gods used to walk the earth. Whether it was the divine source or not, I'm not sure, but if we were closer to the angels and the cherubims, then we would have had a different understanding of life and how to use the energies. And love, being an emotion, is a vibrating energy. So it's how we use it, and the finer it is, the more pure that love is, the more divine that love is, the more that it would be coming from a compassionate understanding of how the divine was sending out love, not the love that's often mistaken, that's really lust, or love that is mistaken when one is really feeling that they have to love you because you're their brother or their sister, or that that we're told to love each other. Genuine love is a true feeling inside one, and you can feel it in your heart. We all struggle with it. We all struggle with loving everybody. This is why in many of the commandments and rules of all these religions, it's about loving thy neighbour. And it's difficult when people are either stupid or piss us off, or tread on our corns, as Mr Gurdjieff would say. But then that's a different kind of love. It's not talking about and well, it is a brotherly love, but it's not the lustful love. It's a different kind of love, a love that maybe we are no longer aware of, as I've just read in that first quote. So from all and everything, the 18th personal commandment of our common Creator, which declared, love everything that breathes. Some people love animals more than they love humans because animals don't answer back, don't mistreat them, don't whatever. And Gurdjieff used to say, practice your love on animals first. There are obviously people out there that like to hurt animals too, the evil side of things, who people that have either soulless or have had such an upbringing that they feel it's okay to take out their anger, their whatever, on animals. Some people hurt animals because they think it's funny and that it impresses other people. Well, that kind of thing doesn't impress me at all. I'm impressed by people that treat animals well. As many of you might know, Friedrich Nietzsche, final collapse into madness was when he saw a horse being mistreated. You know, the compassion for animals helps us to understand why we're here on this earth, because them animals, they're not our enemies. They have just as much right to be on this planet as, you know, we have, and we need animals to be treated well. So from all and everything, love should predominate always and in everything during the inner and outer functionings evoked by man's consciousness. Such a love as can arise and be present only in the presence of concentrations formed in the lawful parts of every whole responsible being, in whom the hopes of our common Father are placed. And carrying on, we have all and everything, a few pages later. In none of the ordinary beings, men here has there ever been for a long time any sensation of the sacred being impulse of genuine love. And without this taste, they cannot even vaguely describe that most beatific, sacred being impulse in the presence of every free-centered being of the whole universe, which in accordance with the divine foresight of great nature, forms those data in us from the result of the experiencing of which we can blissfully rest from the meritorious labours actualised by us for the purpose of self-perfection. So as we're trying to develop ourselves into our higher centres and towards our soul, develop our soul, you know, we need to understand love and genuine love at that as well, which is saying here that has been forgotten or what its original meaning was. And he's trying to evoke in us an understanding of what genuine love is so that we can use it in our lives and pass it on. And when we use genuine love, we're feeling with the whole of ourselves, with all our centres aligned, which again goes back to that once we're aligned, we'll start developing ourselves and go to our higher selves, which is our souls. But as he's saying here, we've lost that taste. And he goes on to say, the next page of all and everything, never do beings, men here love with genuine, impartial and non-egoistic love. And this is what the problem is of the genuine love being misrepresented. People now use it for egotistical reasons and purposes. People aren't impartial anymore, something that Gurdjieff's very stresses on about all the time, being impartial. Because when you're being impartial, you're seeing with your conscience and hopefully seeing from all sides and being aware of what's going on, but seeing all sides of a situation. But the genuine love has been, I suppose, watered down, diluted over time by humanity into other types of loves. You know, that genuine love, that's the sea of genuine love that was out there, has had little rivers come off it that become streams that are, you know, diluted versions of genuine love and are misrepresentations of that genuine love and then misunderstood, and people place a lot of emphasis on love and do things because they, you know, they blackmail people with, I do this because I love you and things like that, when that's not being genuine love, that's then being manipulative love. So never do being men here love with genuine, impartial and non-egoistic love. And Gurdjieff has this aphorism about the soul and consciousness, and he has a verse about love. So love of consciousness evokes the same in response. Love of feeling evokes the opposite. Love of body depends only on type and polarity. So it could be looked at in many ways, this, with our love of consciousness. If we're awake and being conscious, hopefully, and using genuine love, that will attract other people using genuine love. But like when I was just saying about using the blackmail type of way of using love, where people manipulate with love, that's bringing an opposite response in that person when you're doing that. When you're sitting there saying, I do this because I love you, and you're feeling emotionally blackmailed by it, you're not sitting there giving back that love, where for some reason and people think you will. Instead, you're sitting there thinking, I can see through you, and you begin to detest that person for using this emotional blackmail of love at you. So carrying on with all and everything. Their manifestations, that's humans, their manifestations gradually atrophy the data put into their presences by nature. Let me read that again. Their manifestations gradually atrophy the data put into their presences by nature for evoking in other beings around them, without distinction of brain system, the objective impulse of divine love. So we're trying to work on ourselves so that that genuine love, that divine love, comes through us and works with us. And I know many religions might say we have the kingdom of God within us, and I was discussing this with someone on the YouTube channel, and others say that we get the divine spark comes down into us, and then we can try and reconnect with the divine, and the divine sends down the grace, which could be another way of looking at divine love. There's many different views as to what divine grace is, but obviously it's some kind of blessing from the divine because it helps you on with your way. So having this divine love poured into us, hopefully then we shine with it. Hopefully we're using that to go forth. I suppose it could be misused, but I'd like to think that the people that get this divine love are people that are already working on themselves, or perhaps develop themselves to such a stage that they know how to use it, not misrepresent it, and spread it in this world, this much needed world of love. So carrying on with all and everything. Aimability. Empty words in which there is not a single atom of what is called the result of an inner benevolent impulse, such as arises in general in the presences of all beings in direct contact with those similar to themselves. Amiability, so being friendly to one another. It can be difficult to be friendly to one another. And as I was saying earlier, love thy neighbour can be harsh when you're looking at someone thinking they're really annoying me. So that's why we have to look with an impartial gaze upon these people and try not to judge them. Try and be teachers if we can, or be prepared to take teachings from others when we muck up, because there will be times when we are annoying other people who maybe are not looking with an impartial view or gaze upon ourselves. What do we do to get that genuine love to come through us so that we can truly understand? We have to work on ourselves. And then Gurdjieff goes on to say that there is a motto: love one another and God will love you. So it's kind of coming back to the, if we love everything, we will feel the divine love coming back upon us. It is difficult. But at the same time, like I've said in past shows, if we can take a step back and look out on the world and admire what the world is, and have a look at ourselves and let them energies come through us and settle and hopefully work in a positive way, we do suddenly feel that love. We do suddenly become aware of how much we even like people. Gurdjieff has that saying of like what it does not like, because when we're not liking someone, it's not our essence, it's one of our personalities, it's one of our eyes doing it, which Gurdjieff always says we should refer to as it's doing it, it's saying this, it's saying that, not using your name. DJ Elliot is making this video, it is making this video for you. I'd like to think that my essence is doing it, but I think that might be presumptuous. There's probably a part of my essence wanting to do this because I want to feel I'm doing something positive with the work and to get it out there for those that need help and aid. But I don't want to be sitting here thinking, oh, clever me, aren't I wonderful? I don't want it to be like that. I'm trying to do it because I genuinely love the work and think it's important and want to get it out for people that also want to wake up and try and develop themselves, and hopefully we can all help each other. So data for the engendering of the being impulse called love of kind was still crystallized in him. I've got to write down who that was talking about there, but it's something that we're trying to do. We're trying to make that being impulse in ourselves of love of kind, love of everything, work in us and affect us and make us aware as we look and upon everything and hear everything. This following is from views from the real world. There are two kinds of love. One, the love of a slave, the other which must be acquired by work. The first has no value at all. Only the second has value. This is the love about which all religions speak. Real love is Christian, religious love. Some know it from childhood, others only in old age. If someone has real love, he acquired it during his life. It is very difficult to learn. Now we are speaking about love for life. Wherever there is life, plants, animals, there is love. Each life is a representative of God. Whoever can see the representative will see him who is represented. Every life is sensitive to love. Even flowers, which have no consciousness, understand whether you love them or not. Even a cow will give less milk if you do not love her. And I've spoke before about Masao Moto's work of having the glasses of water and writing on one glass of water war, and on another glass of water love, and then he put them water molecules under a microscope to see how it was affected. So it's not just the words, but it's the feeling and intention behind it that makes it, you know. And I'm sure it's Gurdjieff says somewhere that a true awakened person will be able to walk amongst the wild animals, you know, and they will understand that that person is awake and feel that genuine love coming from them, you know, kind of like when Daniel in the Bible is thrown in with the lions recognized him, to the shining divine light and love coming through him, and that's why they didn't eat him. They laid down with him and, you know, made friends. And that's why I think it's very important. I know this is judgmental now, but I look at how somebody treats animals, and I do judge people by the way they treat animals, you know, because some people think it's just all right to not treat them well at all, you know, and some people truly understand that they're other beings and must be treated with love. So, you know, I have my little private ways of judging people, but, you know, there's also people that will fake that in front of you because they might be aware that you like animals, and so they think, oh, I must look like I like this animal. But normally the animal knows when someone's being fake, and normally an animal can sense the person's honest way of being and their true character, I suppose is the word I'm looking for. Animals are clever things. So carrying on with views from the real world. Whoever does not love life does not love God, which again is very important. God gave us this life. God gave us this world to be on, and we should be enjoying our lives, but not manipulating and taking the mickey out of it, obviously, but trying to emanate back God's love. It is very important for a man who works on himself to understand that change can take place in himself only if he changes his attitude to the outside world. Try from tomorrow to look at plants in a way you have never looked before. All living things are tied to one another. The reciprocal maintenance of the universe. Everything eats everything. Everything is tied together. And so since it's all tied together, we might as well all love each other. That sounds like an easy loop, an easy way out. We need to do genuine love. We can't just do it because it's what we're told to do. That's why the divine gave us free will. We've got the choice. And if we can find genuine love in us, then that will shine through. So this is from Margaret Anderson, who did a wonderful little book about Gurdjieff. Conscious love wishes that the loved object should arrive at its own native perfection, regardless of the consequences to the lover. The paradox, it only evokes the same love in the beloved. True objective love, the love of everything that breathes, and just adoring everything on this world. I found Henry Tricolo's book, which was a bit of a revelation for me. I'm still working my way through it, but I've got some quotes here from him of when he was giving, Henry Tricole was giving classes. So someone asks Henry, Gurdjieff practiced love in a manner unknown to nearly all men without limit. And Henry Tricole replies, it is a sentence which greatly touched me because it is just that which stands out when all is said and done from the experience lived at Mr Gurdjieff's side, if one is not trapped by this or that anecdotal memory. Unbounded love, neither left to chance nor without a price, a love of extreme exactingness, born of this suffering at seeing us prisoners of our numerous misunderstandings, and attempting by all possible means to evoke in us the feeling of urgency, the thirst for return, for union, for communionism with the essential. So, Henry's going on here, Mr. Tricole shouldn't be so familiar. He's going on that we need, to get to this love is hard work as we're going along in it. It's very difficult. And we want to try and emulate Gurdjieff, but Gurdjieff seemed to live it, and that's what we're trying to do. We want to live it. I'm going to finish with a quote from Knott. With ordinary love goes hate. I love this, I hate that. Today I love you, next week or next hour or next minute I hate you. He who can really love can be. He who can be can do. He who can do is. To know about real love, one must forget all about love and must look for direction. As we are, we cannot love. We love because something in ourselves combines with another's emanations. This starts pleasant associations, perhaps because of chemico-physical emanations from an instinctive centre, emotional centre, or intellectual centre. Or it may be from influences of external form. Because it's true, when we fall in love with somebody, it's crazy, isn't it? Everything changes your world. And then when you fall out of love, when you start hating each other, then the world turns dark again. But that's one kind of love. As I was saying to you before, go and look up all the different kinds of loves that the Greek philosophers discuss, and others do as well. The eros, the agape, and such like. And remember that what Gurdjieff was practicing and trying to awaken us all to was genuine, real love. And that's to do with contact with the divine, with his endlessness in Beelzebub's tales, in Gurdjieff's tradition. The God, goddess, whatever it is you believe in, there's love there. And we want to find that love. It's a love that seems to have been forgotten over time and misused, and as I was saying before, diluted down to misrepresent what original, genuine, divine love is. So, with all my heart and love, I send love to you and speak to you again soon.